The following is a fan-made reading of the web serial Pale by J.C. McCrae. It describes extra material published after Chapter 4.1 and contains spoilers for that chapter. The original text can be found at palewebserial.wordpress.com. If you'd like to donate to the author, please go to patreon.com/wildbow. Thank you, and enjoy. The Blue Heron Institute. Information Packet. To Lucy, Avery, and Verona. The process you are about to begin requires you to provide us with information about your experience level and preferences. It is important that the information you provide is accurate, honest, and approved by any apprenticeship masters, heads of practitioner households, patrons, and/or you yourselves. Classes are irregular in structure. The BHI employs 3 full-time teachers, as well as 7 guest teachers who partner with BHI as contracted practitioners or as the parents of students past and present. Lessons are split into beginner, intermediate, and advanced tiers, and a typical weekday will consist of a morning with a beginner and intermediate option, and an afternoon with an intermediate and advanced option. Classes may take between 1.5 and 3 hours. Example Monday. Morning, beginner, basic worship, Mrs. Durachet. Morning, intermediate, tool sets, Mr. Sunshine. Afternoon, intermediate, emergent rituals, Mr. Bellinger. Afternoon, advanced, Deus Ex Machina, Mr. Sunshine. If neither option for a morning or afternoon block appeals, you are free to leave the campus, avail yourself of the campus resources and library, or sit in with any guest teachers. Guest teachers, when not leading a lecture or partnering with BHI staff for a class, may be available for one-on-one appointments, conversation, research help, or help in traveling to other realms. It is best to make appointments and consult well in advance. Students, staff, summons, and the guest teachers are bound to keep from inflicting meaningful harm, and will endeavor to protect you during practical lessons off campus, but you will ultimately be responsible for your own safety, especially during your free periods, experimentation with any resources or library materials, and your trips off campus to visit home, shop, eat, or entertain yourselves. Note, please, that at the request of one of our full-time teachers, once a class is in progress, we would like you to at least attempt to stay for a full lesson. Determining your curriculum. The following questions will help us to suggest a class schedule, while also affording us the ability to better schedule our guest lecturers and class projects. Beginner practitioners may receive a curriculum of morning classes, followed by periods of self-study and projects, with a list of material indicating what to study and in what order. Advanced student practitioners may be assigned special projects, or be given teaching assignments with the youngest students. Please check the following list. Cross out the subjects you have no interest in, and note your degree of interest clearly on the following sheet. If you already have a foundation of knowledge in a subject, please make your best guess as to the degree of your existing experience, beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Please also pick no more or less than 3 subjects that you 3 have special interest in, as we try to ensure one-on-one time with guest lecturers for our students in their primary topics of interest. Core subjects. The foundation of practice. Pattern, power, principle, awakening, others. Runes, diagrams, circles. Core workings, applicable to most practices. Others, types, and labels. Classifications, difficulties in labeling, variations. Others, roles and relationships. Others in relation to society, us, other others. Others, binding. Positive and neutral bindings, hollows, basic principles. Others, practical use, summoning, binding, drawing power, contracts. Realms, cosmology of other worlds, travel, origin, typology of power in each. Practitioner history, creations, pre-Solomon, post-Solomon, Oni Accords. Implements. The personal tool, rationale, core ideas, options. Familiars. The other as life companion. Types of bond, uses, considerations. Dimensies. The place of one's own. Claiming. Uses, principles. Shamanism. Spirits. Ambient. The spirits everywhere. Relationship to all practice. Law. Spirits. Organized. Spirits as working extensions of a broader system. Spirits. Complex. Amalgam, mixed, composite spirits, intentional and not. Shinto theology and spirits. History of shamanism, theological roots. Variable states, translation. How and why of a spirit's shifting state, nature. Hollows and vessels. Spirits and containers, tools, shrines, and self. Anima and animus. Passive and active superspirits, dichotomies. Spirits across practices. Shamanism and its applicability to major practices. Primary spirits. Greater spirits. Spirit leadership. Spirits in other roles. The spirit world. The realm of spirits. Dangers. Practicalities. Benefits. Other immaterial practices. Immaterial fundamentals. Basics on dealing with the formless and insubstantial. Emotion, spirit, psyche. Root origins, causes, and end results for immaterials. Spirit, incarnation, elemental. Fundamental distinctions in others as concepts. Self and soul. The essential immaterial aspects of us, what a soul is. Elementals. Immaterial-driven, material manifestations. Binding and use. Echoes. Ghosts as recurring and common psychic images, imprints of events. Incarnations. Immaterial concepts rooted in broader human experience. Possession. Others that seek vessels. Identification. Measures. Typology. Immaterial realms. Visiting ruins. Storm. Creating an Alcazar for diagnosis. Deals and contracts. Practical language. Language in practice, rule of law, wording in practice. Practical rhetoric. Presentation, drama, context, phrasing. Effect on practice. Translation and old others. Communications with others from older contexts. Deal-making others, general. Petitioners, challengers, and cunning others. The fairy. Courts, glamour, contracts, day trips to 7 courts. Deal-making others, superior. Jinn, envoys, and other major deals. Magic tools. Magic items, basics. Basic principles, care, power, pattern, contraindications. Ownership, wanting, coup, and claim. Contested ownership, inheritance, loss. Creation of, enchantment. Creation of magic items through practice. Creation of, incidental. Items that appear in the wild by mundane accident. Creation of, saturation. Items powered by association with realms, others. Living items. Items that are other, sapient. Binding and using, considerations. Cursed items. Dangerous magic items, cleaning of, identification of. Classification of, appraisal. Valuing, categorizing, and divining use of items. Essential items. Items and implements tied to self. Heroes with key relationships. Grails. Great treasures. Powerful items tied into the greater scheme of things. Visceral practices. Material fundamentals. Basics on others and practices dealing in the physical. Once human. Periodic, and post-human others. Practices, diseases. Dark locales. Twisted and othered locations on Earth, urban and rural. Goblins. Goblin summoning. Practice, tools, binding, and extermination. The Warrens. Goblin realm. Day trips. Non-goblin denizens of the Warrens. Scourging. Horrors, scratchings, bogeymen, and related dark practices. Self-defense. Offensive practices, dealing with hostile others, practitioners. Alchemy, creating visceral others and things through material practice. Special topics. These are only available to those who have completed at least a season at the BHI and obtained permission of all relevant guardians. Ones marked with asterisks are specifically one-on-one with full-time teachers. Subheadings may have various teachers. Sight and seeing. The sight. Viewing other things in a variety of contexts, dangers, and tools. Research. Augmented research of subjects using practice. Far-seeing, asterisk. Remote viewing, astral projection, dream-seeing. Retrospectives, asterisk. Viewing past events through specialized sight. Prognostication, asterisk. Viewing future events through the sight. Analysis. Advanced hardware. Tool sets. Specialized tools as they relate to pattern and power management. Astrology. Stonehenge and other large-scale apparatuses for rituals. Emergent rituals. Accidental astrology. Rituals. Urban legends. Artificial realms. Asterisk. Technomancy and ritually created spaces. Greater powers. Worship. Prayer, tapping into the well of divinity, serving divine forces. Labeling greatness. Identifying gods, primevals, angels, great spirits, et al. Capricious power. Asterisk. Management of the uncontrollable and unpredictable. Overflow and excess. Asterisk. When measures to contain greater powers fail. Heartless practices. Asterisk. Breaching the bounds of mortality and humanity. Hollow others. Asterisk. Vestiges, hollows, stains, and other remnants of excess power. Others in excess. Asterisk. Others of unrestrained power, God-cursed, wishful, Ouroboros. Counter-diabolism. Asterisk. Mitigating harm. Best practices for self-preservation. Please also include your current education level, recent grades in math and in English, any past religious education, and any special needs, medical or otherwise. You can submit your preferences by email or by mail. Final selections are due by the 28th of June. Tuition will be waived and goodwill will be extended if the circumstances of the waiving goes without remark to the other students. A single room has been set aside for the three of you to share, should you wish to stay overnight on any or all nights this summer. Given the time of year, please allow up to 24 hours response time if you have any questions. Yours, Alexander Bellinger. L, music note L, for the purpose of clarity, henceforth to be referred to as Lucy. I hate giving up info for no good reason. And it's due in 4 days. A literal cat. He knows what he's doing. Lucy. Which do we like? Page 1 of class options. Foundations, we got this. I'd say we're at least beginner. Runes, diagrams, circles, we're beginner, easy. Stick 'em up. Yes and yes, low interest. Lucy, putting that down. Others, types, and labels, I think we're at least beginner. I'm curious to see how they talk about others. Maybe we could take that class if it doesn't conflict with anything more interesting? Stick 'em up. Do we want to take all the same class? Or split them up? Lucy. Depends. This is really hard to plan, and I don't trust Alexander not to fuck us over when giving us the schedule. I want to be in classes with you two, unless there's a few high-priority classes at the same time. Other option is we can use the stars to mark out stuff for one-on-one classes to cover anything we have to miss. We could start by picking out the highest priority stuff. A literal cat. 110 interest in everything except history. 0% in history. Stick 'em up. If we're being goofy about it, then realms, abyss, ruins, wherever. Yes, please. Lucy. We're doing this for a reason, remember? A literal cat. Expanding our knowledge? Lucy. Solving a crime? The Carmine Beast? A literal cat. They made it sound like we'd never get that done. And we're already doing so well. We're ahead of the game. Let's kick back. Lucy. No. A literal cat. And go to magic school! Exciting! Woo! Not being at home! Woo! Lucy. Priorities. And then a face with a straight line for a mouth. Stick 'em up. We need to cover binding real bad. Lucy. Yes, thank you. Possible candidate for a big star in one-on-one lessons. Stick 'em up. I wish we got more stars. Probably important is complex spirits because Edith? Literal cat. Primary spirits because of old CB? Or is she one of the divine things? Lucy. There are a lot of spirit topics that could be important. The translation thing, power. Binding is a big one. Those are good. Should we start big and then narrow down? What about page 2? Stick 'em up. Immaterial. No, no, no. A literal cat. Yes, yes, yes. I'm interested in all of that. Stick 'em up. Realms are interesting to me. What's an Alcazar? A literal cat. A Wooble search says it's a kind of castle. Lucy. The big question is if it's useful for what we're doing. A literal cat. Zzz. Stick 'em up. Fairy stuff might be needed if Marachisa is a suspect. Lucy. Tool stuff we can mostly skip. A literal cat. Or, other option. Lucy. No! We can come back to the school another year. We can do the random crap when we've handled the CB situation. Stick 'em up. Visceral stuff we can skip. Some stuff I'm curious about with goblins and realms. Abyss seems cool. Lucy. Yeah, I like self-defense, but I'm not sure if that's because I'm expecting things to get messy when we name the culprit and try to bind them, or if it's because I want to learn it. We can take those classes if there's nothing higher priority going on at the same time. Right, Verona? If there's nothing higher priority. A literal cat. Or... Stick 'em up. Not sure about anything on page 3. Greater powers? We don't know what the Carmine Beast was. A literal cat. Or, as an alternative to all that blather, Lucy. The face with the straight line again. A literal cat. We tell Mr. Bellinger to put his forms of his bum pipe and will attend and pick the classes when the time comes. Why give him information on us? For his convenience. Lucy. ... Okay, not the bum pipe part, but okay. Stick 'em up. That makes me more anxious about going if we know he'll be annoyed. But it's not a bad idea. Lucy. I love you sometimes, Ronnie. A literal cat. And now our Wednesday is freed up. Stick 'em up. Plus, our little timing issue gets easier. I might have to leave now to get there sooner. Lucy. You still want to do this? School ends tomorrow. You're missing the last day. A literal cat. And the end of school party. Stick 'em up. Thinking about the party depresses me. A walk to the middle of nowhere to visit the judges sounds nice. I love snow for company. Lucy. We'll cover you if you really want to do it. I'll say I went to Verona's house for once. Disguise myself as you. If you really want to do it. Stick 'em up. Thanks. Yes, I want to. Lucy. Be safe. Keep us updated. Call before and after you do any path stuff. Stick 'em up. Yeah. Going to go get ready. Logging off. Literal cat. Love. Good wishes. Safe travel. 1, 1, 1. There were some ones within the exclamation points. Stick 'em up. Heart sign. Stick 'em up has signed out of the conversation. Lucy. I am so worried about her. A literal cat. She's doing what feels right for her. All the times I've slapped my forehead and felt stupidest were when I didn't listen to that feeling in my stomach. Lucy. The moments I regret were when I went with my gut. Paul, mostly. Sort of referencing this stuff to my therapist and getting her curious. A literal cat. Was it a her? Therapist person? Lucy. A new one. Told my mom the old one wasn't getting some of the most basic stuff about what led to Paul and stuff, so we changed. It's only once a week now. She's cool. Some Booker feel to her. A literal cat. Cool. Very cool. Lucy. Any plans tonight? I'll need help with the Avery glamour. At least for the first time. A literal cat. Gotta talk to Mom. Oh boy. We'll update you after. Then we'll come. Lucy. Good luck. Literal cat. We'll call. A literal cat has signed out of the conversation. Lucy. I worry about you too, you know. So much. Your last message was not sent. Nobody else is in the conversation. Lucy has signed out of the conversation. This has been a fan-made reading of extra material from the web serial Pale by J.C. McCrae. Read by me. Cod Polish, or Unlawful Wording, or Chase, or whatever the heck you want to call me. The original text can be found at palewebserial.wordpress.com. If you'd like to donate to the author, please go to patreon.com/wildbow. Thank you very, very much for listening. Good night.